Gotta take a little time to think things over. Better read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. This mountain I must climb feels like a world upon my shoulders. Through the clouds I see love shine. It keeps me warm as life grows colder. In my life there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Can't stop now. I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. Ooh. Gotta take a little time.
Hi, this is Paul Belt, and I wanted to take a few minutes and try to give you an overview as to how it went, but also what goes on when I speak in health science classes here in Visalia. Many of you have asked, how did it go? And it's difficult to write. I don't type real well, but I have to type a long journal in order to explain how it went and what went on. So instead, I thought I'd make a short video to give you an overview as to what, how, why I do this, and what God does with it. For the better part of the last 15 years, nearly every semester, I've had the opportunity to come into a health science class. It's a semester course that every freshman has to take. Of course, there are those who are seniors in the class every now and then because they didn't pass it the first time and they're taking it again in order to graduate. But for the most part, they're freshmen. Dave Rogers, who is a health science teacher, he has a master's in health science, is a man with passion, a man with a desire to have knuckleheads, teenagers, understand how to make better choices for a better, healthier life. And he loves teaching, and he's been doing it for 20-some years. But it sometimes is like trying to put your fingers in the dike, or to swim upstream or stop the waves on the sand. It's counter-cultural, much of what he tries to teach and encourage and have young people come to understand. Because, well, one, they think they know it all, but also they get an input. They get a myriad of input from every aspect of life and influences at a far greater degree, as well as probably far more creatively, than one man in one class can ever do. And so they walk into a class, they think they pretty well know whatever the topic is. Because, man, they've got YouTube, satellite TV, cable TV, videos, music videos. They have video games. They've got video coming out the wazoo. I mean, they have it on their iPhone, on their iPad, on their iPod. They can watch TV in their car, on their phone, and their home, in their bedroom. They have input. And that input quite often makes them jaded. They're bored stiff because they're overwhelmed with stimuli everywhere else. And so trying to teach them, trying to give them some insight of truth can sometimes feel like it's an uphill battle. So what do? In the health science course work, there's a family life component. There's a component about the family, about how to have a family and so forth. And so Mr. Rogers has me come in as a guest speaker to come in and share about the effects of divorce on teenagers. They already study how often divorce is happening. They know that over 50% of all marriages are ending in divorce in our current culture and time and society. They know some of the causes of divorce: lack of communication, stresses of all kinds, financial, emotional, family, children, cheating. I help them define what that actually is. You mean like on a test? They go, no, like in an affair. I said, oh, you mean adultery? Well, we don't use that word anymore. No, you probably don't. You see, this gray hair guy, who's in his late 50s, can keep their attention over 50 minutes, can actually connect with their culture, and that's what Mr. Rogers and I have in common. We desire to connect in their culture, to try to be culturally relative, but give them some truth that they're not listening to from anywhere else, input that they're not getting from anywhere else. And so I go at it like that. I talk about the effects of divorce on teenagers. For 13 years, I actually facilitated divorce recovery groups for kids, teenagers, from families of divorce. I was given the permission to write passes to excuse kids from class once a week, every week, for 13 years in a high school setting. We talked about life. We talked about dealing with divorce. I revisited that divorced kid in me. I revisited why I felt the way I do about my marriage, as well as the hurts and wounds of divorce in my own life. My dad left when I was 5. I never heard from him again. I'm Junior. I have his genes. I have his cheekbones, I guess. I'm named after him. But I don't know anything about him. But am I him? No. Who I am are the choices and decisions that I have made. And so I literally have stepped into a lifestyle where I choose to be, one, the father I never had, the dad I never had, the husband I never observed, the spouse I never heard of, except from others who gave some input over the years. But I'm real honest with kids. I talk to them about, divorce rates over 50%. And yet, 50 years ago, well, almost 60 now, in the early 50s, in America, the divorce rate was near zero. When I was a youngster, in the 60s, when my parents divorced, the divorce rate was near zero. When I finished high school in 1974, it still wasn't much more than like 25%. It was unusual. It was rare. I was labeled grade D by a girlfriend's mom that I'd turn out probably like my dad. He was a scumbag, not good marriage material. And so I was labeled with that at a very young age. And she was right, that mom, because I had a girlfriend since I was 11 years old. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Oh, it wasn't for dating practices. It was to make me feel better. It was to make Paul feel good about Paul. Because I had a wound in my heart. The absence of that dad, that rejection, left an enormous wound in my life. And so by the time I was 19 years old, my second year in college, I considered joining a monastery. Because it just wasn't going well, this dating thing. I hurt so many young girls' hearts because I had the wrong attitude about why to date. Well, shortly after considering the monastery, I then met the woman that I've now been married to for 36 years. She's been my only focus, female-wise, for 38. That's an amazing thing. My own parents are only married 5. Something else that really was amazing about yesterday. Thursday, April 24th, 2014, is that I didn't show it here in that picture you're looking at right now, but just to my left, to the right of the picture here, was a young gal, the first one I've ever met with this name. Her name was Love. Love? Yeah, love. I said, this is incredible. Look, you can touch love. You can adore it. You can smack it. It's right here in your presence. Here's love. Because a lot of what I talk about has to do with love. And in a minute, I'm going to show you a handout that I use. But I get ahead of myself. I expressed to young people that, marriage has been around how long? And they all agree. Been around forever. How long is marriage supposed to last? They all raise their hands. My goal is to have a marriage that lasts forever. But what's happening? How come marriages aren't lasting forever? And I share with them, I think it's an epidemic. I think it's a horrible disease that's in our culture. Marriages are ending at a rate of over 50%. Something has to stop this horrendous thing. So I share with them, I said, how many of you can date? A few of them can, several of them, sometimes many of them, but 14 is an early year to start dating, but many of them have already started dating. So what's the highest calling of dating? What's the highest goal in dating? To find your future mate. But I asked them, is that the real reason people date? Well, no. Why do you date? To not be a loser, to have someone, to not be alone, to feel good about yourself. So, sounds like the same things that I used to use as a definition of why dating, and yet I didn't really understand it. Not healthy. I said, guys, I want you to hear something. How long does dating last? Well, 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours. That's right. Dating is a whenever. Ultimately it's to find your future mate, but for the most part, it's temporary. It's whenever it doesn't work out. You see, if you come into the forever proposition of marriage with a whenever experience, what's the possibility of marriage lasting forever? It becomes a whatever. When the whenever meets the forever, you get whatever. So I try then to nail it down further. I said, you realize that my own grandparents didn't date. They had to court. The older sister, Ernestine, had to go with them wherever they went for 2 years. Dating came on the scene in the 50s. It came on the scene because we had this desire to launch out with our free time. But guys, dating's not been around forever. It's only been around since the 50s. It's an experiment, and the experiment isn't going well because of this small word, Love. Here's the handout that I give them. Now, I tell them, you know what, you've all heard this conversation. Guy and a gal talking to each other. Maybe you've been in this conversation. And she says, I love you. He goes, uh-huh. She goes, can't you say it? Say what? Say those 3 words. Yeah, me too. Not those 3 words. I want to hear those 3 words from your lips with your voice. And he goes, well, yeah, I love you. Now, when she says, I love you, she says, I lay my life down for you. The sun rises and sets on you. You are my everything. I give my whole life to you. And he is saying, yeah, you turn me on. We're not talking about same love. In English, we have this one word, 4 letters, but we know we don't love mom, my video game, my girlfriend, pizza all the same, do we? No, we don't. We need to define it more clearly. The Greeks had 4 words for love. 3 of them were a conditional love. If the condition existed, the love existed. And the 4th was unconditional. First was the word eros. It's where we get the word erotic. The simplistic part of that condition and that conditional love, if you're attracted to me and I'm attracted to you, we eros each other. Man, in America, you would think that everything revolves around this kind of love. We sell everything by it. If you drive this car, live in this house, wear these clothes, use this underarm deodorant, wear this cologne, use this shampoo, eat this food, go to this place for vacation, you'll have more what? Sex appeal. More love. More eros. But see, if a relationship is totally dependent on Eros love, it won't last. Because it's not going to be attraction every day, every year, forever. The second word for love that the Greeks had was phileo. It's where we get the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. It is the condition that we have something in common. You have a big nose, I have a big nose, we phileo each other. You go get your big nose fixed at the plastic surgeon, we no longer phileo each other. Gangs work this way. Hand signs, colors, geographical location. The commonness is we're in a gang together. We love each other. It's powerful. It's strong. It's not a bad love. And I hope I haven't said Eros isn't either, but they're conditional love. The third conditional love is storge. I call it toilet seat love because it's family love. It's the love that you share. It's the kind of love you have with those you share a toilet seat with. Storge. It's thicker than water, blood is. You know, if you're ready to strangle your sister and someone comes along and you find yourself, she comes along to try to hurt her and you find yourself defending her, it's like, whoa, I was just about to do the same. Because storge, you don't have to like someone to storge them. It's a condition. You love them because they're your family. Those are the three conditional type loves. When the condition is there, the love is there. You don't have the same condition with everyone. You don't have the same love with everyone. But Eros, Phileo, and Storge, powerful, powerful loves. But the fourth love, the unconditional love, is the one that really is the only love that can sustain relationship. Agape. It says, I choose to meet your need, to make your need a higher priority. Whatever you need, I will choose to meet it. I don't have to like you to agape you. I can literally desire to make your needs higher than my own. The most amazing thing about agape love is that it can never be earned, it can never be deserved, but it can't be turned off either. Because someone chooses it. Someone chooses it for someone else. They say, no, your needs are higher than my own, and I will meet it. My wife and I entered our marriage with agape love as a base of our relationship. It wasn't based on Eros or Phileo or Storge. Because you know what? She wakes up ugly. I wake up ugly. It can't be hearts and flowers and fireworks every day. It can be a choice. Agape. We all need to be accepted for who we are. We're designed that way. Actually, I can't say this in a public school setting, but biblically, it's a result of sin. We need to be loved and cared for. We long for that. God is supposed to be the only one who fills that. But we can do that, some of that with each other. I'm convinced that God's the only one that can sustain agape love into each of us to be able to give it to somebody else as well. But still, the goal should be, I choose to make your need higher than my own. I will sacrifice myself for you. That will sustain a relationship because it's not self-centered. And so that's what I try to share in these 50 minutes of keeping young people's attention. That you know what? The right kind of love will sustain a relationship forever. And everything that's around us kind of puts competition to that. Tries to say, no, go for it, man. Do your own thing. It's all about you. No, it's not. It's about meeting the needs of somebody else. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Go out and meet the need of someone else and love them unconditionally. Makes all the difference.
Little time to look around me. I've got nowhere left to hide. Looks like love